Busted appliance? This is your sign to upgrade. Shop at Lowe's to get up to 35% off and next day delivery on hundreds of major appliances. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 3/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Order by 4 p.m. Available Monday through Saturday. Subject to availability. Fees, exclusions, and restrictions apply. See Lowes.com/appliance delivery for more details.
Visit your nearby Lowe's on East 17th Avenue in Hutchinson.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Are you trying to get weight loss support through telehealth, but it feels overwhelming and rushed? Check out OrderlyMeds.com now. OrderlyMeds.com was built to be different. Here, you connect with real doctors who take the time to understand your goals, review your eligibility, and guide you through a plan that's right for you. Orderly Meds provides access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide, including both name brand options and personalized compound versions when appropriate. So you have choices backed by clinical oversight, not guesswork. It's a simpler, more supportive telehealth experience designed around people who want clarity, care, and confidence in their weight loss journey. And your medication is delivered directly to your home in discreet packaging, so your experience stays private from start to finish. Do your research, ask the right questions, then visit orderlymeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. Again, that's orderlymeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.
Tax season has arrived, and doing taxes without the right help can feel overwhelming. Intuit TurboTax is here now to guide you through it with confidence. Match with a TurboTax full-service expert who handles everything for you from start to finish. Your dedicated expert checks every single deduction and credit to help you get the best possible outcome so you can feel confident you're getting every dollar you deserve. And the best part? You'll see real-time updates on your expert's progress right on your phone while you live your life. Plus, you get unlimited expert help at no extra cost, even on nights and weekends during tax season. Visit TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax full-service experts. Real-time updates only on iOS mobile app.
Do you want to find a stress-free way to buy your next car? Start at CarMax and shop your way. And if you want to browse with confidence, get pre-qualified online with no impact on your credit score and shop cars within your budget. From luxury cars to family rides, CarMax has options for almost every price range, including more than 25,000 cars priced under $25,000. So, hey, want to get started? Just head to CarMax.com for details and get pre-qualified today. Want to drive? CarMax.
My man. What's happening? How are you?
I'm good.
This week on Between Us, I have a very special guest and a co-host. Instead of Heather, she's busy doing the housewife thing. Okay. My best friend of over 40 years, Dr. Robert Schwartz. Hi, Dr. Schwartz. How are you?
I am so excited to be here doing this with you. It is the culmination of 40 years of friendship.
Yeah, it's a long time coming. It's funny. When I told iHeart that I wanted to do this with you, they looked you up, and you're known as the best breasts, best boobs in Dallas, and you are. You're a very gifted plastic surgeon and a phenomenally smart guy. I just want to spend a couple minutes talking about how I know you, our friendship and our background, and a little bit about what we're going to talk about today, okay? So very briefly, if you've ever met anybody who's a true genius, you know that they're different than the rest of us, okay? And Dr. Robert Schwartz is a true genius. I met him at Yale where I was, which is a joke, his MCAT instructor when he was a junior at Yale, but going to apply to med school. And I'm teaching him how to take the admissions test for medical school. When you think about it, it's such a joke. And I remember him asking me a question that was kind of a complicated physics question, because this guy graduated summa cum laude from Yale University in physics, okay? And he's a true genius. You asked me a question, and I went, what the hell is he? I'm thinking, what the hell is he talking about? And you, to this day, you remember how I sort of answered in kind of this filibuster, like, I have no clue. Do you remember that?
I remember that. I don't remember exactly what the questions or what you answered, but I remember sitting there thinking, no, that's not right.
So anyway,
do you remember what you said in the first 5 minutes of that class?
No.
Okay. So you introduced yourself, and we started talking about the MCAT and how it works, and how, there's 6 sections, each is out of 15. And then, so the total is 90. And so, you can get a maximum score of 90, and that you want to get, a 60 would be considered a good score on that and will make you very competitive for med school. And then there's like the standard Terry pause where you just go, I got a 72.
What did you get? Come on.
83.
Oh my God. Which is, of course, 99th percentile. Anyway, we left Yale, and then we both went to UCLA Medical School. I was a year ahead of you, and we caught up again.
You got me to go to UCLA.
I know. He could have gone to anywhere, obviously, and he decided to go to UCLA. And the sell was, look at this weather, look at these chicks. So,
yeah,
was that pretty much the sell?
Yeah, it was like we walked outside, and it was, I don't know, remember what it was. And you look up at the sky, and it's like 75 degrees, and you just go, huh? Huh?
So,
and then we walked to the edge of Westwood, and you go, huh? And then you go, one more thing, and you walk me back to the biomed library.
Oh, yeah. Across from Sorority Row.
Yeah. The physically closest library to Sorority Row. And so it's just filled with girls. And you just go,
So, okay. And plus,
right,
it was like the 3rd or 4th best med school in the world at the time. So that wasn't bad either. But anyway.
Very easy decision.
Yeah, very easy. So you came out, and we both graduated UCLA Medical School. And then we don't need to get into the details of the whole general surgery thing, but we went through the very traditional way that we used to. Before you could be a plastic surgeon in our era, you had to complete a full general surgery training, which is the most difficult by far and away training that you can go through after med school. It's like 7 years long. Every other night, you're awake all night, tons of independent operating and we're both chief residents. Between midnight and 6 a.m., you are the doctor, the boss of the hospital, doing nothing but trauma. You're awake all night doing trauma. It was the most intense and, let's be honest, awesome training that they don't get today, because they have a lot more controls over. You're not allowed to sort of operate independently anymore the way we did, right? It was really the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
So we graduate a super difficult general surgery program, and we're both in the same laboratory doing research and reconstructive surgery and plastic surgery. And I went on to UCLA's plastic surgery program, and you went on to one of the, if not the top plastic surgery program in Dallas, right?
Yeah, UT Southwestern.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, both super high level.
Yeah, super high level. Yeah. And so we then were chief residents in plastic surgery, and we graduate, and you weirdly decided to stay in Dallas to practice plastic surgery and raise your family. Well, it's weird when you consider who you were going to Dallas and who you became.
Oh, yeah.
Dallas changed you completely. And I stayed here in Los Angeles and opened up my practice, and the rest is history. But we've remained, truly, you're my closest friend for all these years. And everybody has their person they go to when they're in trouble, okay? Like if I have an extraordinarily difficult case, or even in my life in general, something's threatening or I'm very worried about it, that you call, is your go-to chat GPT person, human. And you've always been that guy for me, because your advice is not only brilliant, but sound and reasonable and moral and ethical. And, we've just remained, and we're like a couple sorority girls the way we talk on the phone, even to this day. Right?
Yeah. Well, let me throw this back at you, okay? And then we can get the sentimentality out of this.
We could stop S-ing each
until
other's
another,
D's.
until another episode. You are unquestionably, to me, the older brother I never had.
Yeah.
You are that guy to me. You are the guy I've always, since I was 20 years old, basically my entire adult life, you're the guy I've always looked up to. You're the guy I've always gone to for advice. You are the guy who has never once given me bad advice of any significance on anything that I could think of. And in fact, the times that I ignored your advice have, which we don't need to go into right now, have cost me dearly.
Right, but you've done well despite that.
Yeah,
well,
I
appreciate you saying that. And what's great about you is, you have such an amazingly intact ego that even, you're not everybody's great with when their friends become successful, and you've become very successful. I've obviously done okay. And we're happy for each other.
Yes, I believe you've done okay.
Yeah,
yes.
we've done okay.
Yes.
But I can tell you, this is going to be a very different podcast than just two plastic surgeons talking about health, wellness, and beauty. Okay, because Rob and I are very different kinds of doctors. First of all, we're at an advanced stage of our career and very successful, and we really don't need to operate anymore. And we operate because it's interesting and we still like to do it. But we're just, I think, extremely honest.
We want to just sort of, I think, tell this like it is, because I think you would agree with me that we're blessed to be in this specialty.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of great things that, as plastic surgeons, we get to do. There's a lot of, it's really, I'm still excited about doing this every day I come to work. I still enjoy operating. I still enjoy interacting with patients. And I don't think many people get that in life, that they get to be excited about their jobs and still want to do it, decades into it. The problem, though, is that plastic surgery is these little beautiful nuggets of gold that are unfortunately buried in just a mountain of bullshit. And so I think what we're going to do in this podcast is show you what the gold is and scrape away everything else. I mean, that's what my hope is for this.
Well, I think I want to also put a bright light on the bullshit. Right? Because when you typically see two plastic surgeons on a podcast, it's really just a thinly veiled marketing tactic to get patients into their practice and talk about how wonderful plastic surgery is, and to put down the competitors, the cosmetic surgeons or the dermatologists who may take away from some of their business. We're going to put it all down that we feel deserves to be put down. And I think we're just going to be extraordinarily honest. And I really want us to talk about what the red flags are when you go to meet a plastic surgeon and what you should really look out for, but what they're really trying to do. Because I think the first example in my mind, and I of course want to hear what you say, is when we attach these cute little advertising labels to things like Ozempic face, right? Or other things, nanotechnology, other things that we sort of put out there that you and I both know is a load. Right. And I think one of the first things that comes to mind that's really out there is the deep plane facelift. OK, let's talk about a little bit briefly, because you and I could do this for 4 hours. Right. Well, we could probably do this for longer than that. But we
could do a 4-part series on the deep plane facelift.
We could, but
no one wants to hear that.
But the Kris Jenner of it all really amplified everyone's interest in facelifts. In fact, it's driving younger people into plastic surgeon's office to have facelifts now. And everybody thinks it's a deep plane facelift. Well, first, I can tell you, she didn't have a deep plane facelift because I know the surgeon who did it. Okay. He did a very amazing job. She looks amazing, but he didn't even have one. And the Beverly Hills guy I know very well, who does a lot of these sort of higher end celebrities that everyone's heard of, he doesn't do a deep plane facelift either. So what is, in your mind, what's the story with this sort of advertorial term, deep plane facelift, and how can patients sort of avoid falling into the trap of trying to find someone who does a deep plane facelift, which is in fact a harder procedure with greater complications, closer to the nerves. And if you happen to find a surgeon who's just sort of learning, which most of them are, how to do a deep plane, you could be on their learning curve and really be complication rather than a good result.
Well, first of all, I think we need to define what a deep plane facelift is. And to me, what a deep plane facelift currently means, it's the term you use to describe whatever facelift you've been doing for the last 20 years, which is now suddenly a deep plane. The idea that all these guys are suddenly doing the deep plane facelift after having done something different their entire lives, suddenly everyone is the master of the deep plane.
By the
And
way,
by the way, it's the same plane.
no. I'm going to go deep. Okay, I'm going to
Very
turn.
deep,
I'm going to turn the volume to 11.
Yeah, it's so deep you're coming out the other side of the face. It's ridiculous. Okay.
I think the take-home message here is, let's not fall into I must find someone who does a deep plane facelift, and I must go to a surgeon who's telling me that they do a deep plane facelift and it's the only facelift to have, because it's just not true. And one person's deep plane facelift is another person's more superficial facelift or skin only or SMAS. I think the take-home message there is you want to go to someone who does facelifts all the time.
Yeah, you want to go to someone who's a good facelift surgeon.
Yeah.
Period. Because it's not so much what name you give the technique. I mean, all these techniques have pretty much a lot of the same things in common. They're sort of variations on a theme. And what matters the most is the skill and judgment of the surgeon that's doing it.
Absolutely.
Far more than it, and the care that they're going to take in doing this. Because particularly if someone is truly doing what is accurately described as an extended deep plane facelift, which, by the way, it's really very few people truly doing that. You got to understand that what you're doing to do that is you're separating the layers of the face, where if you go 0.5 millimeter too deep, you're cutting the nerves that move the muscles in your face.
Right.
And so, yeah, yes, a good surgeon can do this consistently, although even the very best guys at this will tell you that they get at least 5% temporary nerve injuries with this.
Yeah.
And by the way, if plastic surgeons are telling you they get 5% temporary nerve injuries, they get more like 15% temporary nerve injuries. Just know that, because there's no studies of this.
Right.
Any studies of this is what some guy reported about his own work historically.
By the way, that's a good point.
I'm so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The Real Real, the best place to shop authenticated luxury handbags, clothing, watches, and so much more. I'm obsessed with Prada or nada, and there are great Prada finds on The Real Real. I love scouring The Real Real for new pieces. P.S. They add over 10,000 new arrivals every day, most from me, and they do their daily drops at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern. I shop and sell at The Real Real, which is great because I can use my earnings for something special and new to me. So when you sell with The Real Real, they do everything for you, from photography and copywriting to shipping, pricing, and customer service. So you can just sit back and get paid. Plus, with over 40 million fashion lovers on The Real Real, your items will sell fast. The Real Real just makes it so easy. Resale is what they do, so you have time to do you. The Real Real is the most trusted name in authenticated luxury resale. With over 10,000 new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The Real Real. And now, get $25 off of your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/Dubrow. That's therealreal.com/Dubrow to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/Dubrow. I am so obsessed with everyone I know that is getting on the bandwagon of the GLP-1s. Unbelievable. Weight loss, for cardioprotectiveness, and on and on and on. And there's Ro. Ro offers the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss at the lowest cost around. It is available at $149 for the first dose, in addition to your Ro membership fee, and $299 a month for the higher doses. The Ro Body membership includes access to FDA-approved GLP-1s, unlimited provider messaging, side effect management, and so much more, all for just $45 for your first month and $145 a month thereafter. The Ro membership fee excludes the cost of GLP-1 medication. Go to ro.co/between to see if you're eligible for the new GLP-1 pill on Ro. That's ro.co/between to get started on Ro. Go to ro.co/safety for box warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medications.
Are you a fraud-paying American? It's a fact that 1 in 4 honest, hard-working, tax-paying Americans has been a victim of identity theft. With LifeLock Identity Theft Protection, though, if your identity is stolen, they fix it, guaranteed, and get you your money back. Last year, the IRS flagged over $16 billion in refunds for identity fraud. That's billions of dollars that could come from your salary, overtime, or second job. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second for your personal information and alerts you to threats you could easily miss on your own. And if your information does fall into the wrong hands, only LifeLock has US-based restoration specialists who are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. Because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Visit LifeLock.com/iHeart and save up to 40% your first year. That's 40% off at LifeLock.com/iHeart. Terms apply.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Less support through telehealth, but it feels overwhelming and rushed? Check out orderlymeds.com now. Orderlymeds.com was built to be different. Here, you connect with real doctors who take the time to understand your goals, review your eligibility, and guide you through a plan that's right for you. Orderly Meds provides access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide, including both name brand options and personalized compound versions when appropriate. So you have choices backed by clinical oversight, not guesswork. It's a simpler, more supportive telehealth experience designed around people who want clarity, care, and confidence in their weight loss journey. And your medication is delivered directly to your home in discreet packaging, so your experience stays private from start to finish. Do your research, ask the right questions, then visit orderlymeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. Again, that's orderlymeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.
This is a question I get asked all the time. When's too young to have a facelift? When's the proper time to be considering a facelift? It really has nothing to do with age. It's more of anatomy, let's be honest. Because a 38-year-old who lost 150 pounds may be a perfect candidate for a facelift, and a 50-year-old who's got minimal laxity is not really a good candidate for a facelift.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this whole emphasis and enthusiasm for facelift driving people at younger ages when it's just starting to loosen up into our offices for a facelift? What do you say to your patients?
Well, I'm not, at least in Dallas, I'm not seeing people in their 20s or early 30s coming in for this yet. But I can tell you what I tell patients who are even older than this, where you're looking at them and they have very, very early changes of facial aging. I always look at this as sort of a risk-reward ratio, in that we're doing surgery, so there's guaranteed to be some risk involved. Now, in well-performed surgeries on appropriate patients, the risks are really low because they sort of have to be. Because if you had a procedure in cosmetic surgery that was highly risky, no one in their right mind would ever do it.
What about the Brazilian butt lift?
No one in their right mind would ever do it. No, it's not. That's not really true. I mean, the way some people do it, the way sometimes that's performed, it's insane.
But remember, in the old days, for years and years and years, over a decade, we were instructed to do it the proper way, which was the dangerous way, injected into the muscle. Remember that?
Yep.
Until after, what was it, 10, 12, 13, 14 years, we figured out, maybe we don't want to inject the fat into the muscle because it's going to get into those short, big blood vessels of the buttock muscle and get into the vena cava and go to the lungs, and it's over. And that happened it turns out to be the most fatal elective procedure in all of surgery, a cosmetic procedure done to make your buttock bigger. And it took us how long to figure that out?
There you go with the science of plastic surgery is, after years of research, we concluded that no matter how great your buttocks end up looking, if you're dead, it's not probably worth it unless they're going to do an open casket face down funeral. It's just, not to be glib about this, but it's like
too late.
This is okay. There you go. There's plastic surgery science for you. We're doing something that is, not entirely rarely killing people. Ergo, we should stop doing this.
Well, listen.
Wow.
I know.
Nobel Prize material stuff there.
I know. Well, I remember. Do you remember when? Okay, so fat transfer to the breast is a thing now, right? It's an acceptable thing to do, just like fat transfer to the buttock is an acceptable thing. Although now there's sort of new ways to minimize the chance it goes to the lungs and knocks you off.
Not putting it into blood vessels.
Right. But do you remember how our society in plastic surgery felt about the dermatologist doing fat? They called it a Bambi procedure. Doing fat transfer to the breast, we thought, that's dangerous. Never should be done. Fat's going to calcify, and they're going to think it's breast cancer, and you're going to have a mastectomy for dead fat. And then all of a sudden, the dermatologists started to take business away from plastic surgeons and breast augmentations using silicone with fat transfer. And we went, maybe we should start doing that one.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Maybe we should, I don't know, check with radiologists and see if it's causing them to overread on mammograms and it looks like cancer. And it turns out they said no. Now, there's other issues with fat transfer.
Yes, like fat.
But it ends up that that's not really an issue. But for years, based on nothing, plastic surgeons just, never do this.
Well, I remember, I go back far enough in the game. I remember when it went from liposuction was being done by dermatologists and we plastic surgeons thought it was dangerous and shouldn't be done, to all of a sudden we went, they're taking away our tummy tucks. They're taking away a lot of our operations. We better learn how to do this liposuction thing, because it was really popularized, despite what you might say about Eloise in Brazil or France or whatever. It was really popularized by a dermatologist in this country. True?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
He went, I think it was developed in France, and he went over there and learned it.
Yeah.
And started doing it.
And we criticized the heck out of it, saying, oh my gosh, why are dermatologists operating? What's this, putting this tube underneath the skin and sucking fat out? It's so dangerous. They're going to get fat emboli. It's horrible. And then we went, oh gosh, we better really learn how to do that. Otherwise, we're going to miss out on all that surgery.
Yeah, it's like you could sneeze at the American Society of Plastic Surgery meeting and miss the moment where we went from liposuction is terrible, 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 great.
Exactly. And this is how you do it. And this is how you do it. And listen to us, because we're board certified plastic surgeons. Now, you know, a couple of board certified plastic surgeons like you and me typically would get on a podcast and say, only go to someone who's certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery. And of course, we do feel that way. But being board certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery in and of itself, what does it mean to you?
It's a very low bar to set. It's like saying, the guy who drives your Formula One race car should have a driver's license. It's that. It's like, yeah, okay, but that doesn't exactly necessarily mean you're a great driver. It's the minimum. Yes, it means you've been properly trained, you've gone through the right programs,
taken the tests.
You've taken the tests. Yeah, it should be a minimum threshold. But if you think that all board certified plastic surgeons are of equal standard, no.
Right.
It's still a bell-shaped curve. It shifts the bell-shaped curve a little bit to one side. Right. So you tend to get better people than those who didn't even bother with the training, obviously. But there's still a wide dispersion of ability in this.
And And
you can still get a horrible surgery. There's a lot of bad surgery done by board certified plastic surgeons.
I always tell people, if you pulled back your face with 2 fingers on each side, your middle finger and your thumb, and it looks remarkably better. Yeah, I think you might be a candidate no matter what your age for a facelift. To me, that's a good starting point to figure out. Because if you go in for a facelift to a cosmetic or facial or regular plastic surgeon, they're probably, unless they're very busy, they're probably going to want to do a facelift on you. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, sadly, yes. I can tell you what I tell patients in consultations, okay, is that there's a risk-benefit analysis to this, okay? And the risk is always going to be there to some degree. The question is, what is the benefit? And if you have very minimal early facial changing, you can only get so much better. And so if there's barely anything going on, yeah, it might be, you might notice something, but do you really want to undergo a surgery and spend tens of thousands of dollars to get an end result where you go like, yeah, look, you don't want to wait until it's horrible.
Right.
Because you can only get so much better. And, as you get past a certain age, the skin loses its elasticity. Nothing works quite as well. So you want to have enough visible that there's a meaningful change to make. And that's the time. If you're before that point, it's just silly to do it. And certainly someone in their 20s, who has, other than massive weight loss or something, or just horrible genetics, or early 30s, come on, there's very little that can be achieved.
Plus, I feel there's no science behind this, and we all have our feelings about this, anecdotal experiences. Right. But I feel if you start too young and then you have too many facelifts, once you get past a certain unknowable point, it starts to relax, because they all relax a little bit, and it relaxes in a potentially unnatural way or angle or sweep. And once it does that, now you're into altered. And once you get to altered / weird, no matter how good you look, if there's a weirdness, it's kind of like a hair in your salad or smell in the kitchen. It's just like, no matter how good the food is, if there's kind of this rancid something smell in there, it's over. The whole meal's ruined. The whole face result is a disaster once you get too weird. And by the way, even with the best surgeons, we can have it heal. Even without a complication, we can have it heal in a slightly weird way. And I don't know if you agree with this, I think if you have too many facelifts, your chance of getting a slightly weirdness to your face is significantly elevated.
Oh, 100%. I don't even think it's like, it's almost guaranteed.
Yeah. If you do too many,
you only get, but first of all, with most cosmetic surgeries, but particularly facelifts, your first one is your best one. And you want that one done properly at the right time, because every one after that is diminishing returns. Because the things you can really affect with a facelift meaningfully, you just can't do over and over again. Because facelift is a simulation of youth. So when people come in and they go, well, then they're 60, they go, well, I don't want to look 20 again. I'm thinking, don't worry, it's not going to happen. Okay. So, well, first of all, the first thing that's not true. Because you do want to look 20 again. Because if there was an operation that would make me look like I looked when I was 20, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now. I'd be getting it done.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love to look 20 again. Unfortunately, we can't do that. We can do a simulation of it. We can move you in that direction.
Right.
So it's not a perfect simulation. It's like a virtual reality or something. So it's not exactly right. And so every time you do it, you're deviating a little more and more from where you really were into something that never existed.
Right.
And the more you get into never existed, the more it looks like a facelift.
Right. So let's switch gears a little bit, because again, you and I, we literally could talk for 2 hours about anything in this field because we love it so much. But I just did a podcast, which I guess is getting there's some virality to some of the things I said. And I was discussing male plastic surgery on celebrities, okay?
Yeah.
And, why are the female celebrities looking so amazing and the males looking so weird? And they're being done by the same surgeon, okay? And I posited a theory, okay? And the theory is this, and I want to see if you agree with this. And one of the things I love about you, besides the fact you're incredible genius, is that you're completely honest. You'll call me out on any BS you won't agree with me just to agree with me.
That's going to be half of this podcast.
So true.
And you doing the same to me, because that's
what we do for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have this theory, and that is, if you do the typical facelift that you would do on a female on a male, it really only works with feminine males. And that's why, and I don't know about any of these people, whether they've had plastic surgery or not, but they talk about the Brad Pitt. I don't know if he's had anything done. He looks great. They talk about Bradley Cooper. I have no idea if he's had anything done. And then they're asking me a lot when I walk out of restaurants about Jim Carrey. So why are they setting things aflame in terms of their results? And my theory is this: if you're a feminine looking person, if you're a pretty guy, like a Brad Pitt, a John Stamos, or a Rob Lowe, you can pretty much have more feminizing regular female plastic surgery because they're just making you look pretty. But once you go from rugged, okay, with heavy brows and hooded upper eyelids and maybe some wrinkles on the forehead, to a sort of feminized version of that, if that's your thing, like a Ryan Gosling could probably look good with feminizing plastic surgery because he's kind of a pretty dude, right? But you take a George Clooney, although he's not feminine, but he's much more masculine looking, and you do that kind of surgery on a George Clooney, it's going to scream facelift. Don't you agree with that?
I think that's absolutely true. But I also think that what you're saying really applies to every man, in that I think part of what's going on is it's men, or plastic surgeons doing facelifts on men and doing facial rejuvenation, filler, eyelid surgery, brow, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And they're doing it the way they would on a woman.
Yeah.
And the aesthetic is totally different because, I'm not fascinated particularly with celebrities, and I'm not fascinated by celebrity plastic surgery either. But, my patients ask about it, so I try to stay up with it, right?
Right.
So if you get aggressive on any of these things on a man, it doesn't matter where they started off from. It's going to look feminizing, and in some ways it's going to look less handsome. Less is more on a man. A male facelift is a very different surgery from a female facelift. If you're going to err one way or another, on a woman, obviously you don't want to err at all. But it's okay to maybe overdo just a little bit. It'll be fine. Okay. It may take a little longer to get there, but it'll be fine. If you're going to err one way or another on a man, you should underdo it.
You can always take more.
Anything overdone starts to look feminizing.
Well, remember, it's funny. The plastic surgeons now somehow seem to forget who Kenny Rogers was, or Robert Blake. Do you remember? Of course, I know you know who Robert Blake was. He had clearly very weird feminizing plastic surgeon. And Robert Blake was a very handsome guy, but a very rugged guy. And he was massively feminized. And yet we still don't seem to understand the lessons for it. I think the scariest operation that a man can undertake in plastic surgery is an upper eyelid blepharoplasty, because you just take a little too much skin, and not only is there no going back, but you're a completely different looking person. And if you're a guy and you're going to have your upper eyelids done, just tell them to take 1 or 2 millimeters. You can always take a couple more later, right?
And you know what? You're not going to need to, because you don't want to look that refined as a man. You just don't. So look, Brad Pitt is obviously a great looking guy. I think you could make the argument that whatever he's had done, I don't know, he's still great looking. He had good work done, whatever it was.
He looks great.
Yeah. I don't think there was a problem that needed to be addressed there. And whoever did it obviously did subtle, which is good. But, a little craggy, the lines in the face in a man, the aesthetics for him. That's the other thing, is that the aesthetics for a man and a woman are very different as we age.
It's
fair,
true.
not fair. It's just what it is.
But,
It's just
but let's be
men
honest.
as they get older and, more rugged looking, it just works in terms of what society likes.
It's true. Let's be honest. Brad Pitt never looked bad. He never looked like he needed work done.
No.
The day
But honestly, I think he looked even better as he got older, which was just so painful to watch.
I hate that guy. Sucks. Remember him in Legends of the Fall?
Yeah.
I mean, he was the best looking actor, bar none, female or male, on the set of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just,
He's like painfully good looking in like Inglourious Bastards and Fury. And, it's just, he can't look bad.
It's funny.
It's annoying.
Not to get too personal about this, but you've embraced getting older with the beard and having the gray. But you, let's be honest, you were a very pretty, slightly is being generous to you because you were more than slightly
I know where you're going with.
feminine looking guy. I mean, you were a classic blue-eyed, dark, thick, black-haired model when you came to UCLA. It's funny because when I knew you at Yale, you were kind of this skinny, I remember not very tall, nerd genius. And then a few years later, I see you at UCLA Medical School and you're like this super fashion model, perfect. What the fuck happened between Yale and UCLA Medical School? Did you just wake up and you were like this feminine, gorgeous looking guy overnight, and did it mess with your head? And I know we're getting way off topic here, but it was weird.
Yeah, it's a lot to reveal on the first episode, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this. I had a very weird, like, teenagerhood, Well, first of all, okay, I went to Yale to become a physicist. Okay. Let's be real here. Dork. Seriously. Dork, right? So, and when I started freshman year in September,
how tall were you?
Year, I was 5'4" tall.
Wow. And how tall are you now?
Chubby.
And
6
chubby.
feet.
Yeah.
6 feet. I grew 6 inches out of nowhere in my freshman year of college. And it completely changed my look completely.
Okay.
And honestly, it did mess with my head because suddenly
girls.
They paid attention.
Dude, you were killer. I remember you came to UCLA med school and we're going, med school, and you're going, girls, And it was like, wait, that's a college thing. You're going, no, And you took a year off to go model in Europe.
Yeah. Not the best use of a year, but I took a year off to model in Europe, but not model successfully.
But aren't you glad you did it though?
Yeah, I'm glad because the modeling didn't really work out. So after about 2 months, my buddy and I, we went over there, we just said, screw it. And we backpacked through Europe.
And let's go back.
He only stayed like another month or so, but I stayed there like 6-7 months on my own, backpacking through Europe.
And it was like, let's go back and be doctors. Okay.
I'm so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The Real Real, the best place to shop authenticated luxury handbags, clothing, watches, and so much more. I'm obsessed with Prada or nada, and there are great Prada finds on The Real Real. I love scouring The Real Real for new pieces. P.S. They add over 10,000 new arrivals every day, most from me, and they do their daily drops at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern. I shop and sell at The Real Real, which is great because I can use my earnings for something special and new to me. So when you sell with The Real Real, they do everything for you, from photography and copywriting to shipping, pricing, and customer service. So you can just sit back and get paid. Plus, with over 40 million fashion lovers on The Real Real, your items will sell fast. The Real Real just makes it so easy. Resale is what they do, so you have time to do you. The Real Real is the most trusted name in authenticated luxury resale. With over 10,000 new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The Real Real. And now, get $25 off of your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/Dubrow. That's therealreal.com/Dubrow to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/Dubrow.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
When people turn to healthcare for weight loss, they're looking for real support. That's why more people are choosing OrderlyMeds.com. Orderly Meds connects you with real doctors and access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide. No guessing, just a more supportive experience. And all shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging. Do your research. Ask questions. Then visit OrderlyMeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. That's OrderlyMeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.
Wasn't that delicious? So good.
Your bill, ladies?
I got it. No, I got it.
Seriously, I insist.
I insisted first.
Oh, don't be silly. You don't be silly.
People with the Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card prefer to pay because they earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases.
Okay, rock, paper, scissors for it. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
No!
The Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card. Visit wellsfargo.com/activecash. Terms apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Let's leave people with the what to look out for when you go for a plastic surgery consultation. Can you go in to a plastic surgeon's office and they've got all the good-looking furniture and the art on the wall and the degrees hanging? Okay, so they have pretty offices. We spend a lot of money on our offices to entice people to have plastic surgery. All right, but what should you look for that's good and not so good that may be a red flag in a consultation?
I think, okay, so, we said before, usually this discussion begins and ends with look for a board-certified plastic surgeon. And yeah, obviously. But the next thing is, okay, before you even gone there, you should have looked at their website and looked at their before and afters, okay? Now, that is only so useful because anyone on their website, it's like their greatest hits album.
But just so you know, by the way, if I can add to this, just so you know, it's now that primarily and more broadly replaced by Instagram now. They're showing amazing before and afters on Instagram, and that's the main catch point for getting patients into their office. And boy, there's no more BS than an Instagram before and after.
Yeah, be really careful with that because I can tell you what I've started seeing in the last year or so. Not so much on plastic surgeons in this country, although definitely happening, is results that have clearly been doctored.
Right.
Clearly altered. Aside from the usual tricks of the, facelift, the before.
Oh, I know. And
that thing. So,
but okay, so the patient comes in and you meet.
Yeah. So anyways, the photos I think are useful only in the sense as if you look at their photos and you go like on any of them, you're like, ugh.
Right.
Done.
Because that's their best.
If their best stuff is not meeting your approval, don't.
Right.
Just don't.
But what about the general demeanor? Like how much time they spend with you? I think 10 minutes is not enough. There has to be a get to know you. You have to have a cocktail with them first. And they have to learn. I think it's important they learn a little bit about you to try to get a feel for you because, you may have red flags that they're not even looking for because they just want to get you on the operating table. And, for me, I say my big thing is I want to know why you're thinking about doing it now. Like you're 43 years old coming for a breast augmentation. Why? I'm very nice about it, but I really want to get at the why, because if your marriage is failing and you're doing breast implants, you can still do breast implants, but it's good to know that you're maybe expecting something that's going to really change everything about you, and your expectations are overwhelmed by the results. So that's what I do. I spend at least 30, 45 minutes. I try not to spend an hour, but I'm willing to if they want to talk that much. But I want to get to know the person. I think your plastic surgeon should get to know you.
I think your plastic surgery consultation should be done primarily by your plastic surgeon and not by a coordinator or salesperson or whatever it is.
That's
now,
a red flag.
It's a total red flag. First of all, aside from the fact that this is surgery, this is serious business. People forget that, the second half of plastic surgery is surgery. It's real. It's very real. It's a real thing. It's real surgery.
Yeah.
And so you should know the person who's going to be cutting open part of your body and putting it back together.
It's a good point.
Know that person.
Because if you meet the coordinator, it's almost like going in for the car. The guy goes, puts his cigarette down, goes, let me go talk to my manager. And the manager in this case is the plastic surgery, is going to come in and do the clothes, right?
Right. So, and second of all, you're purchasing, aside from the fact that it's surgery and it's your face or your body, and in some ways there's no going back from this, you're purchasing a very expensive luxury service, and you deserve to be treated like someone who is receiving a luxury service.
Yeah.
And that means I have all the time in the world that you need me to spend with you.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're comfortable. I'm sitting there and we're chit-chatting, and we're chit-chatting for two reasons. One, because it's just good manners to walk in and I ask people about, what they did, or something that, has come up, something that I notice what they do for a living or whatever. One, because part of what's a blessing about being a plastic surgeon is we're not beholden to whatever Blue Cross Blue Shield is going to pay us for the visit. So that's not what it's about. And so I have that luxury.
Right.
I can spend an hour with a patient if I want to. Your internist can't do that.
Right.
They can't make a living doing that.
Do you agree with this? So we discussed they should take a genuine interest in you. Really, they should try to understand you to determine whether they can meet your expectation. Number one. Number two, I think it's important that every procedure you talk about doing, they discuss the pros and they all discuss the cons, because every procedure you're considering has cons. Like when a patient comes in for a breast lift, first thing I say to them, I go, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about breast scars? Now, I've started with breast scars. That's not a good sales tactic, because now I've highlighted the thing that would turn them off to signing up for the procedure, the scars. But if I can see right away whether they go, scars? Oh, you didn't know there were scars. Let's talk about it. And some people in the very beginning of that consultation will go, I'm not doing it if there's scars. You go, yeah, there's scars. There's scars for sure, and they're permanent. You're going to see them. And they go, yeah, I don't want that. You go, great. I go, maybe there's other things you can do. But I highlight, and you don't have to necessarily do this, but I think it's important, every single procedure they offer you should come with various options, and they should highlight every one of them. Not necessarily all the risks, but the cons. The cons are a tummy tuck, for example. That is a big recovery, and it hurts, and it has more risks than any of the other plastic surgery procedures. I start with that. Now, I don't care if people have surgery with me anymore or not. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't either, because we both have these advanced practices now. But I care that I've told them all this stuff, and if anything untoward happens, I look at them and go, I'm sorry, but remember we did discuss this? But I know that they made the decision based on having heard that. They can never say, my patients can never say, boy, had I known, I would not have done this. So I think pros and cons. Would you agree?
I 100% agree. And I don't even view, look, you said it's not a good sales tactic. It's not a good sales tactic, but it is a good doctor tactic.
Right.
And aside from just the medical legal aspect of it, it's just the right thing as a human being to do. And so, I'd like to I try to walk my patients backwards from what they're trying to get out of this operation. And it took me a long time in practice to really understand the psychological aspects of this. What are we really doing with any of these operations? We're taking a part of someone's face or body that they feel self-conscious about, rightly, wrongly, whatever, okay? They feel self-conscious about it. And ideally, we want to move it from a place where they feel self-conscious, ideally to a place where they feel proud of it, or at least a place where they feel a lot better about it. And so if you discuss something like a breast lift, without talking about the scars and without having them in their head asking themselves, okay, if my nipples are in the perfect position and my breasts no longer hang down, but I do have some visible scars around my nipple on the lower part of my breast, do I feel better about my breasts or do I feel worse about my breasts?
Yeah.
Because unless the answer is, I truly feel better about my breasts despite the scars, you shouldn't do it.
I agree.
Because you're not going to achieve what the goal is, which is feeling good about your breasts. No one's goal is to have nipples that are 20 centimeters from their sternal notch, the things that we taught in plastic. No one comes in going like, I don't like my sternal notch to nipple distance.
Right.
They don't like their breasts. They don't always know why they don't like their breasts, but they want to be proud of their breasts again, or maybe for the first time in their lives.
Right.
And so if you can't do that in a way that's mean, if you just make them self-conscious about something else, you've achieved nothing.
Well, you and I could talk forever about this, but I do want to make one final point so people have a practical red flag. I think if they say it's easy, if they use that's easy, that's a chip shot, oh my gosh, it's going to be so easy, that's a red flag. I think, don't you agree?
Completely. This comes up a lot where a patient goes, is this an easy operation? And I always say it depends what you mean by easy.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of things in plastic surgery, strictly speaking, not that hard. It's not like taking a tumor out of the base of the brain. It's not, the technical aspects of it aren't that hard, but it's hard in the sense that you have to get everything exactly right.
Right.
So it's easy in some sense to do breast implants. It's hard to get the very best breast augmentation result time after time after time, given all the differences between patients and even between their own breasts. That takes a lot of work, a lot of judgment, and a lot of just doing it.
We have this thing we say, among us plastic surgeons in the lounge, the only easy operation is an operation done on somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. Well, listen, there's so many more, and we're going to do this again. I loved doing this with you, and we have so much more to talk about. And I hope you'll do this again with me many more times. And by the way, I just want the audience to know that there will be a bonus episode to look forward to, okay, where we'll talk more about this. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. I love you, and you're like one, aside from my wife and my kids, well, some of my kids, you're like most important people in my life. My life, and I adore you, and thank you for doing this. And I hope, I know and hope that the audience will get to hear more from you and me about this in the future. All right, so thank you for joining me.
I would love to do this again and again, at the risk of us sounding maudlin. I love you like the older brother you've always been to me.
I appreciate it.
So thank you for having me on, and anytime.
Thank you.
I'm U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. The sound of a seatbelt. It's one of the most important sounds in our car. It means everyone is ready and everyone is safe. The more our kids see us put on our seatbelts, the more natural it is for them to put theirs on too. Make it a priority. Buckle up every time. Hear the sound? Make it a habit.
Paid for by NHTSA.
Friends Like These, The Murder of Skylar Neese, is now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
911, do you have an emergency?
I have a 16-year-old daughter. Can't get a hold of her. I am scared to death.
We wanted to talk to Skylar's friends.
They're not telling the full story. The truth is gruesomely horrific.
How could you do this to your best friend?
There's a darker secret that's not been said.
Watch the new Hulu original series Friends Like These, The Murder of Skylar Neese, on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. For bundle subscribers, terms apply.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has been a victim of identity fraud. With LifeLock, if your identity is stolen, they fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Last year, billions in refunds were stolen. Could be from your salary, overtime, or second job. Gone. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim, because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/iHeart. Terms apply.
At CVS, it matters that we're not just in your community, but that we're part of it. It matters that we're here for you when you need us, day or night. And we want everyone to feel welcomed and rewarded. It matters that CVS is here to fill your prescriptions and here to fill your craving for a tasty and, healthy snack. At CVS, we're proud to serve your community because we believe where you get your medicine matters. So visit us at cvs.com or just come by our store. We can't wait to meet you. Store hours vary by location.
With the Venmo debit card, a taco in one hand and ordering a ride in the other means you're stacking your rewards. Nice. Get up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash on your favorite brands when you pay with your Venmo debit card. From takeout to ride shares, entertainment, and more. Pick a bundle with your go-tos and start earning cash back at those brands. Do more stash, get more cash. Venmo Stash bundle terms and exclusions apply. See terms at venmo.me/stash terms. Max $100 cash back per month.